I've brought a lot of really cool tools to this channel. I've done power tools and drills and saws and table saws, mini bikes from Ego, UTVs from Cub Cadet. To be honest with you, I love my drills, I love my saws, but every once in a while I need to take a break and have a little bit of fun. Problem was, the thing today that I'm bringing to the channel, I can't find anywhere else on the internet, and I don't understand why. Because the thing I am going to show you today is going to destroy everything else I've ever brought to this channel when it comes to awesomeness. This, my friends, is the Can-Am Outlander R1000 V-Twin Max XT. And just to give you an idea of how monstrously beastly this thing is, I'm going to do a little comparison. This is the Ryobi, not Ryobi, 80 volt, 54 inch zero turn mower. Now up close, this mower is pretty big. I always say to myself when I see it, that mower's pretty big. However, compare it to this, and it just doesn't have the same punch as it used to have. And just to give you another real quick side-by-side between a 54 inch zero turn and this beast, well, you can see this is an absolute monster. And today, my friends, this video is going to be a little bit longer, and there's a reason why. I couldn't find any videos other than the cheesy salesman, dealership videos for the 2024 Can-Am 1000 Max XT Outlander. So what's the deal with that? Is the ATV 4x4 in community on YouTube slacking a little bit? Well, maybe, but it also is. YouTube doesn't push educational videos anymore. If you just want to buy this in 2024, I couldn't find anything. Unless I throw some saw blades on here for tires and, shoot flames out the back, nobody watches anymore. I guess what I'm saying is YouTube's become a real show. However, if you are seriously considering a new 2024 Can-Am Outlander, watch this video. I'm going to break it up into different segments. We're going to talk about the purchasing. We're going to talk about the off-roading. I got some videos of that. We're going to talk about the specs, all that stuff. Everything you want to know, hopefully we will cover in this video today. All right, so let's talk about the purchasing first. Anytime you go to an ATV dealership, it is an absolute nightmare. It's just like shopping for a car. They add on all these stupid docking fees and shipping fees and all that crap. This right here ran me about $14,500 out the door. And just an FYI, we also purchased a youth quad, a 110 Sportsman from Polaris for our son that just turned 13. If you want to know about this, it got some quirks, but let me know in the comment section. I'll do a video on this as well. Now, to be honest with you, I was just going to go with the 500, but they only carry that in a gray color. My wife liked the red, and the first time in the history of man, a wife actually up-talked a husband into buying the bigger ATV. And to be quite honest with you, the 500 would have been fine with me. The 1000 is on a whole nother level. I've had quads my whole life, had three-wheelers my whole life. This is something on a different level altogether. So I ended up going with the two-seater. There were many more options with just the regular one-seater, even though you can fit two people on. When you go to the trails or off-roading, they don't really allow you to ride two people. I wanted to take wifey out, so we got the two-seater. This thing is crazy comfortable. So you can see there's a separate step, and for the foots right here. Ow. There's spikes on these. They really hurt. I just did that. Wasn't real nice like. Now, sitting on this thing, weighing 235 pounds, 6 foot tall, it's actually really comfortable. I wish this part came out just a little bit more, but you sit back, it feels pretty real nice like, and then you got the handles right here. That ain't gonna allow you to go anywhere, so you're holding on, and you got a nice clear view over top of the driver, so you can see the puddles that are gonna hit you in the face. And as far as it goes for comfort for the driver, it's insane. This thing is super, super comfortable. Even when you're hitting bumps, you don't feel anything. And then you got that little bit of a backrest so you can lean up against that, and it feels really good while you're riding it. Now, before we talk about performance and all the specs and all the cool things about this, let's talk about the racks real quick. 100-pound carry capacity on the front, 200 on the back. They are extremely well built, put together, and it's sort of like a link system where you can attach all the accessories on here. I just strap a cooler on this, throw a couple tie downs, and I'm good to go. And the XT models also give you the built-in hand guard, so you get a branch and it tries to smack you, it ain't gonna happen. But they built this in really, really awesome. Now, the ground clearance on this thing is insane. You got the arched A-arm, so it's gonna give you a little bit more clearance. The skid plate or lack thereof, well, not so impressive. Does come in with a winch, and of course, you got your metal bumpers up on the front and on the back right here. Now, let me show you the hitch area real quick before I forget. Can-Am wants $80 for one of their hitches. The reason for that is because, well, it's a little bit shorter in the back and it fits in better. You can't just go to Home Depot and buy one of these hitches for like 25 bucks and throw them in here because it just won't fit, unless you have a bandsaw. You just trim off the back a little bit, throw that in there, and now you don't have to worry about spending $80 on a Can-Am hitch. This will work just fine. Now, the reason why they add the hitch and all that stuff is because this is a tool. And as much as I love bringing my drills and impacts, saws to the channel, this is also a tool, just way cooler than anything else I've ever brought. And that brings us to the control settings. And again, this is a tool, homesteading, off-grid, farming. There's even a work mode built into this ATV. So let me show you what we got going on right here, control mode style. So super, super easy to use. This down here, well, that's your winch in and out. These are for your lights. You're gonna have an off, a low, and a high beam. Brake fluid up on top, front brake, rear brake. You have a parking brake up on top. So you pull this in, flip that switch, and it'll stay in. To release it, just go like that. This is your 2- and 4-wheel drive. So there is 2-wheel, and then this is 4-wheel. Let's go ahead and turn this on real quick. Flip this, pull in the brake, hit the start. It starts up. You can see right there, we're in 2-wheel drive, but simply by pushing this button right here, you can see it's gonna go in 4-wheel. There you go. You also don't have to have this on to do that. We'll just go 2-wheel. You can hear a little motor, and then 4-wheel. There you go. Now, just like the other models, this is your selector switch for the different modes, if you will. All right, so you can see on the screen here, we're gonna go over to this little button, and this is your mode selection switch. So if I come over and I just push this like that, you can see that it's switching. So I'll push it to the right, it's work off. So you can go work mode, sport mode, which will beep, this thing is insane. And then you go to the left, sport mode off, work mode, and then you go back to the right, work mode off, and that's in standard mode. And the only thing you have to do to switch those modes is go like this. That's the sport mode. You can hear it clicked on. You go back to the left, sport mode off, work mode on, back this way, work mode off. The other insanely awesome feature that they've had for a couple of years now on these models is it's basically like a jake brake on a truck. This is called the IEB mode, or Intelligent Electric Braking System. By pushing this button here, you can determine how much you want this to assist you. There's 3 different modes. Now, what's cool about that mode is, like I said, it's like a jake brake on a semi-truck. If you're going downhill, you don't have to worry about burning out your brakes all the time or just using them up. This thing will slow you down automatically. I have a video of this. If you put this on this first setting, it's just gonna do it a little bit. I use it on medium setting. You can actually hear this thing revving down. You're not hitting the brakes at all. You're just going down a hill, and it's like slowing you down. And then the third mode, which is like crazy awesome braking, if you're going down like a crazy steep hill, it's just slowing you down to the point where you're not worried about this thing taking off on you. It's the easiest way I know how to explain that. And as far as it goes with the lights, super easy to do. Again, this is off, obviously. This is your low beams, and then this is your high beams, which are actually very, very bright. And on the back, the tail lights right next to your storage department, which by the way is very deep. I think they pretty much say this is like 4.5 gallons or something like that, but it is very, very large. Not waterproof, water resistant. There is mud in there. What was I saying? Oh yeah, brake lights. There you go. Now, a couple more things and we're gonna go riding. So let's just start this thing up real quick and I'll let you hear it. It's actually pretty quiet when you start her up. However, when you start giving this thing gas, it's beastly. Now let's take a look at the key real quick and the 12-volt outlet and a couple other things. We'll go riding, I promise. Now this here is your key. Very strange, never had a key like this. At first when I seen this, I was like, this is kind of not real nice like. Now they were supposed to give you 2 keys, but the dealership only gave me 1. They're scumbags, yeah. But how this thing works is you got this little ball right here that goes into this, and it's plastic. And I said to myself, well, this isn't gonna last long, but it's actually built very well. If you were pulling this on a trailer and you left this in there, you don't have to worry about this thing blowing out. But without this smart key, you're not starting that bike. Again, super easy to put that on and it'll rotate. So you don't have to worry about this thing busting off on you. Now you also have a 12-volt right here where you got to sort of get your nails in there and pull it out. It is fully protected. You know, I thought at this point in life that we'd be somewhere with, you know, maybe USBs or some C ports on these things, and I get it, you know, but I don't see why it would be so hard to cover those things up with something like this, you know, protect them. I would like to charge my phone every once in a while when I'm out riding in the wilderness. Is that too much to ask? And again, as far as it goes with the protection on this thing, You know, you really do have a lot of space on this here and up on the back, so you don't have to worry about a branch or something sticking out and smacking you. You got the extended flares out here with the fenders. Just a really, really nice job. And the wheels, the 14-inch blacked out wheels, they're a little dirty, muddy right now, but I'll tell you what, these things, they got some nice tires on them. You got some 205/75 R14s on them, and yeah. You also got the sweet disc brakes on the front and the back. So again, even though the A-arms, I do like the design, I wish this did have a little bit more of a skid plate functionality, because this is a very expensive model and you know you're taking this off-road. I mean, you got the plastic under there sort of acting as one, but I ain't seeing no metal. And last but not least, let's talk about the screen real quick. I do like that you can see this very clearly anywhere you go, really, in the sunlight, direct sunlight, the shade, whatever. It might not be picking up so well on the camera, but in person, you can definitely see that this thing is very clear, very easy to read. You know, your gas gauge is over here, your neutral, oil check light, your 4-wheel drive, 2-wheel drive. It'll shut off after if you don't have this key in here. You know, if you're running hot, your mileage, everything you need to know about this machine. And you have a couple other features over here that you can do the engine temp, you know, battery voltage, all that stuff. So anything you want to switch, that's your screen right there. So let's go take this for a ride. All right, we'll talk about the power and all that stuff, but I do want to let you know this also has 3 different power steering modes. So you got one that's not as responsive, one is pretty responsive, and one is super responsive. I got it on setting number 2, just like my engine brake. This thing goes through mud like absolutely nothing. I use like 2-wheel drive most of the day. Now, mind you, I have my daughter that's 9 years old on the back of this quad, so I wasn't going super crazy, but we were hitting really big puddles. What was nice about it is I didn't feel like I was going to get stuck at all while I was riding, and we hit some pretty big monsters. Of course, I'm using a GoPro, and GoPros sort of suck, and I lost some of my footage, but the thing was just absolutely awesome. As far as it goes with the ride quality, it looks like it's super bumpy, but the suspension on this thing, you just float on it. Like, you don't feel uncomfortable at all. And I really thought I was going to be sore when I was done riding this the next day, and I wasn't. It was just all around comfortable, and I had so much fun on it. Now, the performance on this thing, you're looking at a liquid-cooled 91 horsepower Rotex 976cc V twin. Again, way more bike than I thought I needed, but when you get on it, you put it on sport mode, it's going to put you back. This thing just flies. Now let's ride a little bit here, and then I'll get back into some more of these specs and one of the things that I really did not like. All right, so when you're in sport mode on this thing, just a little bit of pressure on that gas, that throttle, and it's going. I mean, this speedometer is jumping like by 5s and 10s. It's crazy how fast. I think the top speed on this, you're looking at like 75 miles per hour. They don't mention that in the specs, but that's pretty much what they're getting. You're also looking at a QE auto locking front differential on this thing, and anybody that wants to ride an ATV or quad, haven't, this thing is super intuitive. It's super easy. The only issue I have, you see I'm putting in reverse going, you got to do the Can-Am rock. That shifter is not smooth at all. You got to rock it back and forth. I don't understand why they can't figure it out. All there is like a bolt and a couple nuts that you can adjust it. I can do that myself, but why can't they just do that in a factory? It never made any sense of why these shifters need to be that much of a pain in the butt to operate. Now, you do have the independent suspension, which if anybody's ever rode a quad, you know that's a good thing if you come off a weird hill or you get stuck in a rut or whatever. It's nice to have that. Now, you can hear that engine brake kicking in right now. You're going to hear it's going to be more prominent here in a bit.
Now hold on to those things.
Now, the one thing I definitely want to point out is I never felt unconfident on this quad. Let me explain what I mean. I've had other quads before where You know, if I went riding by myself, I've gotten stuck and I was just up Shiite Creek without a paddle. I never had that concern. There was nobody there with us. We were there during a weekday, and I felt confident the entire time I was on this quad that if I got stuck, I'd winch myself out. Or if my boy gets stuck, you know, which he did, I winched him out. I got some video of that. But I always felt confident on this ATV.
Probably jump the jump.
Now the power steering on this, again, super easy to set. It is flawless. It felt really, really good. You know, just taking turns and being able to maneuver this thing for how big and bulky and manly it is. I mean, it really is something. The power on the standard mode and the work mode, you don't have to worry about that thing like throwing you back a little bit. In sport mode, hold on to everything you possibly can, because that thing is just an absolute monster with that engine. Now you can see how absolutely filthy I was. And the ground clearance, just so you know, again, it's 11 inches. I put that at the beginning. The seat height on this, you're looking at 34.5 inches. The fuel capacity, 5.4 gallons. You get a lot of really good gas mileage on this. We were riding all day and only dropped a few bars, so that was real nice. Like, we were riding for about 4 hours, 5 hours. The gauge, digital display, you're looking at 4.5 inches. So you got the 6-month warranty. This thing also, by the way, weighs 954 pounds. It's 433 kilograms, I believe. I don't know what it is in the other countries. Saying it's very heavy. Now, as mentioned, my boy's quad doesn't have a lot of ground clearance, and it does get a little heavy when you're only trying to pull these things out yourself. So the winch, no issue. There was mud down there and all that. I don't know if you could really see on the video, but yeah, pulls that out, no issue. That winch is a monster, very easy to use, control, all that good stuff. That was real nice like. And just to show you what these things look like after we were done riding for the day, yeah, we were just crushing the mud. It's pretty easy to clean with the power washer. Get up under there. Don't go crazy. Don't put it on the high setting. But we were covered. I had more fun today than I think I had, and I can't tell you how long. As much as I love the drills and even my daughter, she was loving it. She was riding that. That seat was so comfortable for her, and everything. It's just so awesome riding this thing. And on top of all that, the color I love is called Fiery Red. The color, the looks of this thing, it's just beefy, it's monstrous, it's tough looking, it's aggressive looking. I could not be happier with this. Now, as far as it goes with the warranty, it only comes with the 6-month warranty, but I bought the extended warranty. I think it was like $1,500 for like 3 years, because it is off-roading. You know, I get it. You're going to be, you know, beating it up. It's not like a car, right? So I did get that extended for a little extra money, but I'll tell you again, I just had so much fun on this thing. Can-Am did a really good job. Other than a couple other things like gear shifter's a nightmare. You know, you can loosen up, fix that pretty easy. It just sounds great. I'm telling you, if you haven't checked these out, Can-Am, you did a really good job. And they have nothing to do with this channel. This is not sponsored. I paid everything cash for this. They have no idea I'm making this video. Now, if you want to see more aggressive riding, I'm going to go again next week. Let me know, and I'll make a video, and I'll hit the bigger puddles and without my daughter on the back. And the other thing is, too, if you want to see the 110 Polaris, you know, I can bring that to the channel. Just leave me a comment in the comment section below. I have to bring more fun things to the channel. Don't get me wrong. This will always be a power tool channel, but every once in a while, I got to change it up a little bit so you don't get burnt out and I don't get burnt out. We just got to have some fun every once in a while. And this is a tool. This is used for a lot of different things other than just having fun in the wilderness, my friends. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. If you own a Can-Am or if you're thinking about getting a Can-Am, love to hear that sweet feedback. And check out this mini bike video right here.